Every day, millions of pizzas are topped with mozzarella. At first glance, this cheese seems simple, a white ball, a few ingredients, a little milk. Yet behind this apparent simplicity lies one of the most fascinating cheese-making processes in the food industry. Because unlike most cheeses, mozzarella is not simply pressed or aged, it is stretched. Its proteins are literally transformed into fibers. And it is this transformation that gives mozzarella its unique texture, allowing it to melt, stretch, and form long strands that can extend for several inches. Everything begins on dairy farms, starts as carefully controlled milk. Depending on the final product, it may come from cows or water buffalo. In large factories, milk tankers arrive every day, carrying tens of thousands of liters. Before the milk even enters the facility, it is analyzed. Technicians check its temperature, composition, bacterial count, and overall quality. The slightest anomaly can compromise the entire production process. Once approved, the milk is stored in enormous stainless steel tanks. These reservoirs can hold hundreds of thousands of liters. But before it can become cheese, the milk must be prepared. Manufacturers often adjust the ratio of fat to protein. This standardization step ensures that every batch of mozzarella remains consistent. The milk is then pasteurized. For only a few seconds, it is heated to a high temperature. This process greatly reduces unwanted microorganisms. After cooling, the milk enters the cheese-making vats. This is where the chemistry truly begins. Selected bacterial cultures are added. Their mission is simple: to convert part of the lactose into lactic acid. Gradually, the milk becomes more acidic. This change is essential. Without it, mozzarella could never become elastic. A short time later, rennet is added. This enzyme acts directly on the milk proteins. Slowly, the liquid begins to change. To the naked eye, the transformation seems almost invisible. Yet inside the vat, casein molecules begin assembling into a vast three-dimensional network. Milk solidifies. The curd is born. Once it reaches the proper firmness, it is cut using specially designed knives. This cutting process gradually releases the whey. Whey is the liquid portion that remains after coagulation. It still contains valuable nutrients and is often used in other food products. Meanwhile, the curd continues to evolve. The curd grains are stirred. They contract. They expel more moisture. Their structure gradually becomes denser. After several draining operations, the curd is separated from the whey, but the cheese is still not ready. A crucial stage now begins: the maturation of the curd. For several hours, the bacteria continue their work. The acidity gradually increases. Technicians carefully monitor the pH because it determines the success of the next step. When the pH reaches the proper range, generally between 5.2 and 5.5, part of the calcium leaves the casein network. The proteins become softer, more flexible, more capable of stretching. This is the moment every cheesemaker waits for: the stretching stage. The curd is cut into smaller pieces and sent to specialized machines. Inside these machines, it is exposed to hot water that can exceed 80 degrees Celsius. Under the effect of heat, the mass softens. Mechanical screws begin kneading the cheese. The mixture is stretched, folded, compressed, and stretched again. Gradually, the proteins align. They form parallel fibers that give mozzarella its characteristic texture. This stage is the very heart of the pasta filata process. It is also one of the most spectacular moments in the entire production line. The importance of stretching goes far beyond the appearance of the cheese. It is during this stage that the properties demanded by pizza manufacturers around the world are created. As the proteins align under the combined effects of heat and kneading, they form a structure capable of retaining moisture while remaining flexible. Achieving this balance is extremely difficult. Mozzarella that contains too much moisture may release water during baking. On the other hand, mozzarella that is too dry can become rubbery and lose its ability to melt properly. For this reason, technicians constantly adjust multiple parameters: the stretching temperature, the kneading time, the acidity acidity of the curd, the final moisture content. Each variable directly influences the texture of the finished product. In some factories, samples are taken throughout the day to verify that the cheese meets precise specifications. Tests are performed to measure elasticity, firmness, and cooking performance. For industrial pizza manufacturers, these controls are essential. The mozzarella must deliver identical results across thousands of pizzas every hour. Consumers usually see only the final product, yet behind every ball of mozzarella lies a series of highly precise adjustments made throughout the manufacturing process. As it exits the stretching machine, the cheese resembles a giant ribbon of glossy white paste, smooth, uniform, elastic. At this point, mozzarella has been created. However, it still needs its final shape. Depending on market demand, it may become a small ball intended for salads, a large block for food service operations, or an industrial format designed for shredding. Forming machines automatically portion the hot cheese mass. Each portion is calibrated with remarkable precision. The freshly formed mozzarella is then immersed in cold water. This cooling process stabilizes its structure. Next often comes the brining stage. This salt solution helps develop flavor while preserving the product. The mozzarella then continues its journey toward the packaging lines. In modern factories, packaging is fully automated. Some mozzarella products are packed in their preserving liquid. Each unit receives a batch number that guarantees full traceability. Before leaving the factory, the products undergo numerous additional inspections. Manufacturers strive to reproduce the exact same characteristics day after day, because mozzarella intended for pizza must do more than simply taste good. It must melt correctly, brown evenly, and create the long cheese pulls that consumers love. Once approved, the mozzarella is transferred to refrigerated storage, then to distribution centers. Finally, it reaches supermarkets, restaurants, and pizzerias. Only a few days after leaving the farm, it arrives on our plates. Behind every bite lie thousands of analyses, hundreds of technical parameters, and expertise refined over centuries. Mozzarella is often perceived as a simple cheese. In reality, it is the result of an extraordinarily precise balance between biology, chemistry, heat, and mechanics. And it is precisely this balance that allows a simple glass of milk to become one of the most famous cheeses in the world.